I don't believe in reincarnation. But I've had a very vivid dream well over 300 times. And it's always the same. Every time. The rational part of me says that it is something that I dreamt up 15 years ago, and for whatever odd reason my mind keeps recalling it. But the details never change. Not that it's worth anything online. But I'm a 31 years old Australian male. I have a couple of degrees, law and commerce, and I'm a managing consultant looking after approximately 1,700 people in my division. The Australian part is important. We have zero gun or paramilitary culture. I sometimes see Americans wearing camo pants to the shops on your TV shows. That's weird. Which is another reason that I can't process my dream. It's straight out of an action movie. So far removed from normal life. I'm a passenger in a helicopter, flying over a town that appears to be in the Middle East. You know, desert colored. But it's really big. The buildings aren't modern, they're 2 maybe 5-story at most. I'm a passenger in the back facing forward. I can see my friend sitting and facing me in fully army gear. We have just completed a mission and I can hear the radio in the background. This is a little weird. I really don't think the message is in English. But I understand it all the same. I'm certain I look Caucasian. I don't really hear what they say in the dream. But the guy in front of me talks to me on my own headset. He basically gives the instruction that we're going in again to support another group of troops already on the ground. The helicopter swings about. The dream flashes forward. Then it's me about to jump out. Oddly with a rope in my hands. I'm not talking about climbing gear. But actual thick rope. The kind you would use to dock a boat. We're not super far from the ground. But we use it like a fireman's pole. The ground troops are in formation against the side of a large house. I know that I've seen this before in the movies like American Sniper. They are in a line ready to go in one after the other. The team knock in the door and I'm second or third in. In the POV style my gun is up. People on the ground floor fire back, but this all happens in another room and they are quickly dispatched. I go up the stairs to the first floor that are located near the door. There is a man in the first room doorway that I shoot and he's down. Quickly moving through that room and into the next where I see a boy to my left. Young. Like 15. Who has a handheld machine gun. Shoots me. Then gets shot down by the people behind me. In the dream. I'm semi-kneeling. Put my hands to my chest and I have my own blood on my fingertips. I get first aid assistance. But I have probably got 4 or 5 bullets in me. I always remember the wall behind. Cracked a little like they've gone through. I tilt forward a bit. The blood oozes out to pool on the floor. Then everything goes to black. For a split second I'm on a hospital bed somewhere with bright lights. Then nothing. And that's that. Weird. I don't think it's based in recent times, but maybe as far back as the 70s or 80s? I don't know enough about military equipment to really investigate it. Second time I have told someone about this. So there you go. My mom liked to go antiquing when I was a little kid. She took me into a shop and I saw this doll in a glass case. I told her the doll was mine, from when I lived before. She told me that was nonsense. I insisted that the doll was mine and that her name was Dolores. She asked for the doll to be removed from the case. It was the kind of doll where the head, neck and a small portion of the chest and back are wood, and the body is cloth. As she's looking at the doll and showing it to me, she sees the carving on the back of the doll's neck. Dolores. She gets all freaked out and didn't buy me my doll. We left. I am still frustrated that she didn't get me my doll. When I was younger, I had a recurring dream in which I was in a car crash. I could see distinct details about it like the surroundings. There was a McDonald's and a Tim Hortons close by. The car we were driving was blue and I was with 2 other people I didn't recognize but seemed to know. I could see the face of the driver but not the person sitting on the back seat. I was in the passenger seat. Every time I would wake up because a big black Ford truck would be ramming us on my side coming out of the gas station. After a couple of times, I decided to tell my mom. She told me not to worry about it. Once I had the dream at my uncle's place down south and I woke up screaming. He told me to tell him about the dream. As I was recounting the events, his face slowly turned pale. I'll never forget what he told me next. Apparently, some years back, my uncle had witnessed the exact same accident and tried to help the victims. Only the passenger had died that day. It shocked him so much that he remembered the exact date. It was about 9 months before I was born. I never had the dream again. Not creepy, but so vivid and distinct that I still think about it years later. I had a subjectively long, involved dream where I was a vendor in a fish market. I remember getting up early, dressing and doing a whole morning routine. This included me going to get tea, heading out to the docks and buying fish. It was so detailed that I remember loading them in a cart and going to get ice and even buying some less fresh fish while I was at it, then going to a market to my stall and setting up and selling fish all day. It was so real. I talked to friends, smoked nasty cigarettes, haggled customers, ate lunch, had tea and just lived through the day. At the end of the day, I cleaned up, counted my cash, paid the stall rent, went home and cooked some of the fish I hadn't sold. Afterwards I drank more tea, relaxed for a while, then drew a hot bath, smoked some more and then went to bed. The next morning, I woke up refreshed and ready to go down to the docks to buy fresh catch. Except I was in my house, next to my wife with my truck parked outside and it was Saturday, no work. My wife and I were getting geared up to go skiing in Oregon and the car was already packed. In the dream, I was single. And a smoker, which I'm not in my real life. The whole long dream had been in fluent Chinese. The effortless kind of fluency that only comes from a lifetime of speaking it. Oh, and I had been Chinese. I'm a big, hairy white dude, somewhat fluent in Spanish and I know a little bit of Russian, but I've never spoken any Chinese. It was just weird. I also have never worked in a fish market. I wonder who I was and I still wonder what that was about. A little backstory. I was a total idealist back in high school, so when choosing a college I chose to go somewhere that none of my friends were attending, so that I could strike out on my own in a finding myself sort of way. Well, I ended up making a few really close friends my first semester. I mean, these guys became like family to me in a matter of months. One day during winter break, one of those guys, my buddy Kimbo, had gone back home to visit friends and family, and on his return trip to our college he hit a bad patch of ice and got into a car accident and was killed. It hurt me for a long time, and I still think about him all the time. But anyways, a few weeks after Kimbo's accident, me and the rest of the guys were getting back from a party off campus, and while we were standing outside our dorm building, I felt my phone vibrating. When I pulled it out of my pocket, I could see that my friend Kimbo was calling. Dumbfounded, I showed my friends the phone quickly and then answered. When I picked up it just went directly to his voicemail, which played the same message it always had. It never happened again, and we never really talked about it, but for me it was one of those someone's looking after me moments. I hadn't been doing very well after his death, but seeing his name show up on my cell phone screen one final time made me feel a whole lot better, and really helped me get out of the slump I was in. I have no idea how his phone could have possibly called me and I doubt I ever will, but this was one glitch in the matrix that I'll forever be thankful for. Rest in peace, Kim. But feel free to call again. In 2003, my best friend had gone missing and ended up being murdered. It was a huge news story and tore me up inside. Back when it had occurred, there were some issues going on in his personal life. I was living a couple of hours away. Anyway, my birthday was on June 15th, which was a Sunday. I was hanging at my friend's house the morning of the 14th, from which I distinctly remember having a bad signal on my cell, always. We were hanging out at the time and we were in front of my friend's house. I called my other friend, the one who was killed, that morning asking what he was doing and that my birthday was the next day and that we had planned to go to a rap concert. He said he wanted to come down, but there was some trouble and he wasn't alone. He mentioned he was with his roommate and I told him they could both come down. Without giving too much detail, he mentioned he was in fear of his life and I told him to come lay low at my house and Monday we would drive back and go to the police. My friend whose house I was at, also had chimed in, remembering me having the conversation in full. My friend on the other end of the phone said he would drive down and stay over. He never showed up. I called him on my birthday, infuriated that he didn't show up. He never answered the phone. I didn't think much of it at the time, I was very drunk, but something didn't seem right. I got a call Monday morning from his long-distance girlfriend saying she hadn't spoken to him since Tuesday. I told her to calm down and that I had spoken to him. Well, I got a call from his parents as well, begging me to go check his dorm room, where he and his roommate stayed in. I drove down with the friend I was getting stoned with on Saturday and we got into his place. He had 2 baby pit bulls who looked starved when we walked in. There was dog poo everywhere. We checked the apartment and it was a mess. I went into his bedroom and there was a suitcase on the bed, half packed with folded clothes in the bag and on the bed very neatly. This was how my friend was with his clothing. It was a 2/3 night bag. Something was wrong. Fast forward, he was missing for a month and then his body was found. I won't go into detail about that part. I will say this however, the FBI ended up telling me he was dead 2 or 3 days before the day I spoke with him. Furthermore, there was no cell phone record of the call, or so I was told. I can't say how accurate the body decomposition was, due to the body being in a field during the summer in a southern high heat state. The FBI was positive of what they told me though. To this day I know I spoke to my friend who died. My other friend who I am still friends with can vouch for this. Apparently, they say it isn't so, but this is definitely something that will sit with me for the rest of my life in addition to the event itself.
Wasn't that fun? Leave a comment with your own glitch in the Matrix story, so it can be featured in upcoming videos. Oh, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more quantum tapes.